Yesterday I was out here working on the driveway with the Stihl Power Sweep, and if you don't know what that is, it's a big like rubber paddle wheel that goes on the end of your string trimmer, and it lets you get all the gravel out of the grass and put it into the driveway, back into the driveway where it belongs. And now that I've got that done, I've got to backblade it with the tractor, and it's the middle of summer here in Florida and it is hot. And I was thinking I need a cover for my Kubota tractor so I can get some shade, get some relief from the sun. And I remembered I've got a cool top to install. So last summer I installed a cool top on the Kubota, and the Kubota already had a Kubota canopy from the manufacturer, so I just put the fan in on the Kubota zero turn. But for the Yakta, I put the whole unit on. So what it comes with is the canopy, the fan, and then on top there's a second part to the canopy, and it allows air to come in from the top so you're not using the air from around you that may be dusty. And you put the fan on, that just feels so good. And it's amazing how much just a little bit of airflow can totally change the temperature when you're mowing or when you're doing anything outside with your equipment. So I can't wait to get this installed on the Kubota. Because I've done this a couple times already, I'm hoping for a quick install, but here's the parts that we have. We have the Kubota orange colored canopy, the top part, the fan, and everything you need here, except for the wrenches. The wrenches are mine. And you get 2 sets of U-bolts depending on the size of your ROPS. So we'll be using this set for the Kubota ROPS. We'll use those 2 U-bolts to mount this on top of the ROPS. Then we have all of the hardware laid out here. I've already pre-marked where the U-bolts will go 3 inches from the edges of the bracket that goes on top of the ROPS. And then I have all the rest of the hardware laid out. You'll need 2 different sizes of wrenches here. So we've got 9/16 and we got 1/2 inch. And I think that's all we'll need. So the bracket will go like this with this side facing down, and it'll get centered here. So I'm going to measure that real quick. The inside of my ROPS is 36, so we'll go 18. And this is 18.5, so we'll go 9.25. Some quick eyeball measurements. We're about 9 inches from the side on the edge of the bracket. Now you notice this bracket is not the same width as the ROPS here. So you still use the 3-inch U-bolts, but then you have these shims right here that make it 3 inches wide. Right here, put them over top of the white marks I got here for the 3-inch. Everything's still centered. Looks good. So this will be the easiest part of this install, putting these U-bolts on this bracket. There's not a lot involved with it. It is a easy do-it-yourself project. But the first time I had to read the instructions pretty closely. But now I just kind of remember the way it goes together. But it runs off the battery of your tractor, so if you don't have power back here, they give you a long enough cord to go all the way to your battery. Or if there's some place you can tap into power in the back of your tractor, you can do that as well. But I'm going to run it all the way to the battery. And Cool Tops provided these tops for us out here at Piney Grove. And we don't make anything, any commission or anything. But we can say that they are a lifesaver. In this Florida heat, Deb does most of the mowing on the Yakta mower. And with that fan on, first of all, she has the canopy that reflects a lot of the heat and also keeps her shaded. And then she puts that fan on. And before she had that, she still liked to mow. She really likes to mow, but now the heat and the dust are not hardly an issue at all. Like, it puts a little bit of fun and a little bit of enjoyment back into mowing on these 100-degree days we have. So we are testimony that the product really, really works well. I don't know if there's another product like this out in the market, but I do know this is a very good product. It works as advertised, and I can't wait to get it installed and use it today on the Kubota. Next thing we'll do is put the fan on. They actually call it the fan cage assembly. Use the 4 bolts, and they come from the outside in. And then you want to level it after you get it up here. So this is a part where you could probably use a helper. Now, there's a bunch of different holes in the back bracket there. depending on how level or not level your tractor is or your ROPS is mounted on your tractor. Some of them are tilted, some of them are not. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the 2 bolts in there just to hold it. And then get the 2 other ones and then temp install them. Well, I wish I hadn't undid that with the tie straps they had on it. But these different holes here, so it's 4-pointed, different holes here give you different angles. So we're going to tighten up these back bolts just a little bit and then put a level on here, and what we want is this to be perfectly level. We also want all this wire up here so we don't trip over it. So we'll tighten this back bolt where it hinges just to give a little friction, and then we can raise it up or down and move this into a different bolt hole to either raise or lower that. Again, to keep it level. And with this back bolt slightly tight, we just gotta, looks like we gotta raise it to make it level. So that hole right there is going to give us our best chance at being level. All the rest of these holes don't really change it enough to make it worth moving the bolt. So at perfectly level, the only hole that will line up is this hole. So we'll use this one, and then as we tighten it, we'll hold it up a little bit more level. The next step is to route the wire now that this is all mounted up here. And I'm going to take my time with this because I'm in a lot of brush. And I get a lot of branches that hit my ROPS and come up under my tractor. So it's going to take me some time to figure out the best route for this. But they give you plenty of wire. And they already have the fittings on the end, or the electrical connections on the end, to go directly to your battery. They provide 2 electrical connectors if you want to snip the wire and connect it to an electrical source, maybe at your switch or something. But this fan has an independent switch, so you can turn it on if it's got power, like from the battery. You can turn it on without turning on your tractor. So I think I want to hot wire it directly to the battery. But it'll tie strap to the ROPS here, and I just got to figure out the best way to do that so that it just doesn't catch on things. It's one thing I don't like on a tractor, or on my tractor anyway, and that's having a bunch of wires for things to catch on, because it could disable a function on your tractor easily just by one branch, and you know, you could spend hours trying to troubleshoot it. Whereas if you just spend a few extra minutes figuring out your routing, then you'll probably can get through the life of your tractor without ever having an electrical line get disconnected or severed. I fished it underneath the platform of the tractor here, and I'm just going to take this piece of wire with a hook on it and put down there just so I have something to find from underneath, and see if I can get my wire on that and pull it up. Now, this is the part in the instruction that takes about 2 lines. Properly route the wire in your tractor. But it will likely take me as long to do this as to do everything else. Every tractor is going to be different, and there's going to be just a lot of different users out there that want it wired differently. So what I want to do is get it up underneath the engine hood here, and then bring it alongside the fuel tank, because the other side has the exhaust on it, and I don't want it to get too hot. I'm just trying to find the best way to get it where it needs to be. So my destination is the battery at the front there, and I could just go straight here, right to the battery, make it so much easier, but I don't think that's safe. Not for the way that I use my tractor anyway. I'm over here by the fuel filter, and I've got to get there to the battery, so I'm getting closer. I'm more than halfway. Got to get through this firewall here. We've got this air cleaner hose. I think I can just put it right in that rubber, right under that rubber there. All right, looks like we made it. Got the negative lead hooked up here, and I'm gonna put it, or I have put it, under the bolt head rather than under the nut, and that way when I go to change the battery, it'll be less chance of breaking that wire, because the bolt head will stay still, whereas the nut rotates. We'll get that nice and tight on the negative side, and then we'll do the same thing over on the positive side. And the way they designed this was perfect for this setup because I got the short side there to the negative, and then I have the long fused side here that'll reach over to the positive side of the battery. The positive bolt was a little rusty, or it is a little rusty, so I'm going to go ahead and clean it up a little, just make sure there's good contact and I don't have problems with connectivity or power with that fan in the future. I'm going to put a coating on top of this too after I'm done that should keep some of this corrosion at bay. But to lead to the frustration, one side, the negative side, was either 1/2 inch or 7/16, and I have all my SAE wrenches and sockets out, and this side is a 10 millimeter. So on top of all of the heat and humidity and the sweat and trying to get this right, I've got to deal with two different standards, I guess. Just like the negative side, I'm putting the lead to the cool fan up underneath the bolt head instead of under the nut. Had a little bit of corrosion I had to clean off here, and if that connector to the cool tops, you know, gets too much corrosion on it, it could possibly not function, or it could break when I have to change the battery. So just trying to do some preventative type of installation here. Just make it easier on myself down the road. But we're getting real close to being able to turn on that fan, I think. I think I've done everything right. It's not overly complicated. It's black to negative, red to positive. I feel like that's pretty tight. All right, the fan should work. There's no reason why this fan shouldn't turn on when I hit that switch. Oh, that feels better already. I can't wait to use this tractor with that air blowing on me, being in the shade from that canopy, protecting me from the sun. It's gonna be great. I better turn it off. It's loud enough you'll never forget to turn it off, because when you shut off the engine, it's directly hot wired to the battery, so it's not going to turn off when you turn off the engine, but it's loud enough it'll remind you. You won't hear it at all when the tractor's running or the mower's running. That's how fast the Florida thunderstorm comes in. I've been hearing the thunder for a while, and then it just blew right through. I bet the temperature came down 20 degrees. But the storm's blown through, the sun's trying to peek out, so now we can finish this install. Man, isn't she a beaut? So the instructions say the front of the canopy is the side with the yellow reflectors, so that will be that side. Pretty good match, huh? We're on the downhill side of this now. There's only 4 bolts to this, and then like 6 bolts for the rain cover. Last time I put one of these on, I put it on the Yocta mower. I brought the camera up here, and the camera actually fell off while I was filming. Luckily, it didn't break. Unlike the camera I lost a few weeks ago to the Balmalite mini skid steer mulcher, I still haven't found the camera. So here's the 2 U-bolts that hold it to the ROPS. And then the canopy has this bar on it. And up there as well, and 1 bolt in each corner. And tighten these down. And then the next step will be to put the rain fly on. Not sure how tight to go with these bolts. I want them to be straight up and down, so I've positioned the top here so the bolts aren't, you know, at an angle and it's not at a square sitting on top here. But these bolts will be all that keeps this from flying off if you're towing, and they have a maximum tow speed. I don't know what it is, but it's not very much. One of the reasons that I haven't put this on since I've had it, because I've had it about a year, is because I've been trailering my tractor a lot. And I didn't want to trailer it with this top on it. I guess to trailer it, it would be about these 4 bolts is what you'd have to take off. I think the fan would be fine to trailer. I got 2 of them tight. Looks like they're just starting to flex this bar a little bit, so I'd say that's tight enough. I'll do the same to the front. And 6 more bolts and we'll be done. So for the rain cover, it says one side is taller than the other. And to put the taller side to the back. And then you have these washers that are rubber on one side and metal on the other. Put the rubber side down and put the lock nut on the bottom. So this is holding plastic together with plastic. This canopy is made out of some sort of plastic, and so is this rain cover. So all these 6 bolts are doing is holding this fly on. There's no, it's not a structural type of thing. But it'll be interesting to see if I get caught in a pop-up shower, if any, you know, without the fan on, if any water gets on me. They specifically say in the instructions to use hand tools to tighten this. They don't want you to over tighten it and maybe crack this plastic. 7/16 hardware, so you don't have to switch over to metric sets or anything. All the hardware has been SAE. So 9/16 and 7/16. I might have said 1/2 inch earlier, but these are 7/16. And you can feel when they get tight, when you should stop. All right, 3 more bolts and we're done. So time-wise, this wasn't a very difficult install. I tend to take my time with things and like figure them out, like especially with the wiring. I wanted to make sure that that was the way I wanted it and in such a manner that it wouldn't cause me problems later. This is a really easy do-it-yourself project. If you're one of those people that likes to do things yourself, but maybe a little bit intimidated, maybe you haven't owned a tractor before, there's nothing to this. Simple hand tools, and the instructions are very clear. So what type of installer are you? Do you just take everything out of the box and just kind of throw it on a table and figure it out as you go? Or do you read the instructions step by step? For our new house, we bought a lot of new furniture, and a lot of furniture nowadays, unless you buy it, you know, directly from the showroom, you put it together yourself. You go in the showroom and it looks like, oh man, this stuff was all glued together, but it's usually bolted together, and it comes in what they call flat packs. So I've been putting together a lot of furniture lately, and I follow the instructions step by step, because I've found if I get ahead of myself with, you know, 1 or 2 steps, that usually I got to go backwards and correct my mistake, because there's dependencies of this can't go on until that goes on. And if you get ahead of yourself, you think you're saving time, but you might as well just read the instructions first and get it right the first time. Tightening up the last bolt now, and then we'll do a quick cruise around and let you guys see what it looks like. That ain't going anywhere. Okay, first look, what do you think? That's a lot of air moving down on me. When we were baling hay a couple weeks ago, I didn't have any canopy obviously here on the Kubota, and we checked the hood of the tractor just sitting in the sun without the engine running. It was 136 degrees, and I had the seat folded forward so it would be shaded and the sun couldn't hit the black seat, and I flipped it back and hit it as soon as I flipped it back with the infrared thermometer, and it said 115 degrees. So I can't help but think that this is going to lower my temps a lot and make it a lot more pleasant to mow and do all the things we need to do out here at Piney Grove. But that's going to wrap it up for today's video, folks. Be sure to check out cooltops.com. I'll leave a link down below. It's a great product. We've had Cool Tops out here for a year at Piney Grove on both of our mowers, and we've had no issues with them, and we just think that they're a great product. Are they better than a cab? No, but they're also about 1/10 of the price of a cab. But that's going to wrap it up. So until next time, y'all take care out there, and remember, life's short, tractor hard, and check out these 2 videos right here. They're totally awesome.